What is up, everybody? What is up, Bomb? What's up, Emily Rose? I know it's late. I know you guys are struggling, so I apologize for being on so late, but I literally just got home from work. What is going on? See who else is in here. What's up, Nate?
What's
What's
going
up?
on, everybody?
What's up, Anthony? Give it a couple moments, let people come in. Hey, Wendy, how you doing?
Yeah, man. Quick shout out to everyone who's already in here. Blessings and love to everybody, as always. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you
I
guys
know
are
we're waiting
patient.
for everybody else. So
Yeah, you guys are patient. I appreciate that. Like I said, struggles are working late, but it is what it is. What's up, Tracy? What's up, Nicholas? How you doing, my friend? What's up, Levi? I think you're talking about JDQ's sexy beard. Not talking about me, technically. At all. At all. I'll give that up to him. I'll give him props.
yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate that.
I appreciate the love, Jules. Just give it a moment. How you doing tonight, sir? I know you um been having some things with your friend and whatnot, so hope you're in good spirits and all things considered.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah. That aside, I'm feeling fantastic. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling blessed. Feeling motivated. I seen, every time you put like a motivational video out, whether it be on Instagram or YouTube, I keep an eye on it and I check it out. And it really does help. You're one of the few people that I actually keep track of the whole like motivational, inspirational, like video, like content.
Yeah.
And, I for one, I appreciate it. I appreciate it and I respect it. And again, it does help. So I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for asking.
No problem, man. That's something that I'm sure we'll talk about whenever you interview me sometime this week. It's one thing I kind of wanted to set apart because you see a lot of negativity on the internet and whatnot. And I just wanted to just put something positive out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank
And
you.
we're all grateful for that. Yeah.
Thank you, Nate. I appreciate that, man. So how's Pops doing?
So my father, and I'm glad you asked because that's partially the reason why we had to delay this stream anyways.
Hmm.
Um, so just a real quick, I guess, assessment of like the situation with my father. Um, I want to say he had COVID a little while ago, right? Right around the end of December. And what happens is, with the whole dialysis treatment, is whenever one of the patients has dialysis, they relocate them to another station to get taken care of. And yeah, because he tested positive for it a few days ago, like they decided to like relocate him to that other station in Daytona. So it's usually he does it usually in the land, but last time and tomorrow I have to take him to Daytona to do that. But aside from that, aside from dialysis and every other medical complication that you can think of that he's going through, he always finds the strength and motivation to keep doing things that he wants to do and
Hmm.
keep working on projects that he's had on like pause and stuff. And for Christmas we got him some new headphones, like studio headphones, because he wants to start like a podcast himself, and he wants to do the same thing he used to do, which is like preach, but just put out his sermons out
Hmm.
on the internet. So
That's
yep,
awesome.
yep.
Is he looking at doing like his own YouTube channel like you are, or?
Yeah, no. What's funny is I hooked him up with a channel. I want to say like over a year ago. And I helped him set it up and everything. And so yeah, he's gonna go through the StreamYard route for now. Like once he starts,
Hmm.
but eventually, what he wants to do is something a little bit more like refined, a little bit more radio station ish type of thing.
Hmm.
So that's what he's going for. But yeah, I'll share the link of his channel like at the end of the stream.
Okay.
So for those of you, he does just talk Spanish though. So technically it would only kind of sort of like bless mostly the people who talk in Spanish. Even though I know there's people out there who are bilingual or know a second language, that they picked up whether through school or whatever. But realistically, primarily it'll be like more directed towards like Hispanics. So just quick heads up.
Okay, be looking forward to that. There are Spanish speaking friends. I think Jesus. There's a couple of people in here that are Spanish speaking that most likely enjoy that. Um, interviewing. I've CNN sent me a message, a DM earlier talking about. I guess they have some type of awards. I guess you won the awards for best podcast. So congratulations are in order. I guess it's like the Jacksonville Jaguars interviewing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I was in fourth place. I'm behind Nate with the podcast that didn't even exist at the time. And I love you, Ryan, but I don't. Ryan doesn't have a podcast, which it is what it is. I will. I will say that 13% or whatever that I got, the LaRoche plan, we worked hard for. We worked in, went to a couple libraries, did a couple of different places. We worked hard for that 19%. So I appreciate the love.
Let me say something about that, man, because I really gotta like talk about that. Because I for one I feel terrible. Okay, and let me say why. Okay, and it's not to belittle, what I'm saying, the people's votes and all that. I do appreciate the votes and the whole voting process, right? However, let me just remind people, and I've said this in the past, but I'll say it again. Let me remind people that I have not been as consistent when it comes to the streams that I do on the main channel, right?
Mhm.
Whether it be interviews or just say chill streams and all that. I have not been as consistent as you in that area.
Mhm.
And that's where I say that's kind of like a little messed up because Chris has been like pretty consistent, like in comparison to me. I'd say like by a lot more. And
But
yeah,
in all fairness, you have a much larger following than I do. You've been around a lot longer than I have. So, I mean, gotta give props to it too. You, it's much deserved. You deserve it. Like I said, it is what it is. It's all
yeah.
good.
But you have my vote. All right, you
Okay.
have my vote. So
So that somebody outside my immediate family. That makes me. I'm gonna sleep much better tonight knowing that.
But yeah, man, I just wanted to point that out real quick because some people, again, this whole voting thing. And by the way, I do believe something is going on over there. On
Yeah, they
camera.
mentioned something to me. They're gonna. Yeah, they have some type of rewards. Whatever. It is what it
Right
is.
now, just a reminder though, it is just purely for fun, and they even stated it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's not to be taken serious and nothing like that. But
Yeah, Nate and I were joking back and forth on Instagram about a week or so about it. So it's all good. Um, so we're gonna while we get started, we're gonna talk a little bit more outside of what you do because people see you on a weekly basis doing your podcast and whatnot. I want people to get to know you, the person. Um, right to the T word. I guess he's gonna be like Voldemort to me right now. The T word lost everything, so that's good. What's up, Constantine? As I was saying, I want people to get to know you outside of what your podcast and whatnot. So what drives JDQ every day?
oh man, that's a powerful question to ask anybody. To be honest with you, and someone actually asked me a similar question last night. Not so late last night, but throughout the evening, they sent me a question very similar, right? And I was like, you know, nowadays it's really like sometimes like hard to remember what does drive me and what does like get me out of bed, basically.
Mhm.
Because though this life, especially these last 2 years, have been hell. Like especially for people like in our generation, seeing things how
Mhm.
things have changed so quickly and dramatically, in the span of like 2 years, right? And so these last 2 years has been like tough on everybody, right? Because I'm not the only one who's experienced the consequences of, what I'm saying, everything that has happened.
Mhm.
And it's depressing, right? It's somewhat depressing. However, within that negative and that dark cloud that surrounds us, What I personally find passion or that drives me or like gets me out of bed, honestly, is like my fellow man, like helping my fellow man, inspiring my fellow man, trying to motivate my fellow man, remind them that, that everyone does have a purpose, regardless of whatever they're going through. Everybody does have a special divine uh, purpose and, function. You know what I mean? And that's
Mhm.
something that I have always strived to do, like from way, way, way back, like years ago. Like when I was young, I want to say one of the things that always filled me, and it still does to this day, is something kind of like what you do. Like I always try to lift people up. Um,
Mhm.
why? But why does JDQ love lifting people up? Well, you're talking to someone who had extremely, extremely like low self-esteem as a youngin, as a kid. I had a lot of what do you call it? When you like don't feel like you like something's like good on you, or like when you feel like,
Low self-esteem.
yeah, like low self-esteem, about like my body and all this other stuff. It was bad. It was really bad. Okay. And I always had people like my mother, but mostly like my grandmother. My grandmother has always been there, always telling me, "Oh, you're such a handsome little boy. Oh, you're so smart. Oh, you're so this, you're so that." And she's one of the few people that actually fueled whatever positive and exciting, motivating, inspiring characteristics you find in me. You can mostly thank her because she always found ways to like build me up. When I was feeling down, when I was feeling
Mhm.
like ugly, when I was feeling like, I wasn't worth anyone's time. Because I did have those thoughts when I was a kid, like a lot.
Mhm.
And she was one that really, really just found every single day a different way to like build me up and build my confidence up. And if it weren't for her, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even dare say that I'm a decent looking guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If it weren't for her, because she was one to always compliment me and say, like, oh, you're handsome, you're beautiful, or whatever. And but yeah, what gets me out of bed, long story short, is finding ways to lift people up, whether it be family, friends, neighbors, people around me. I always try to find ways to lift someone's spirits up and remind them that, they have a purpose in life, that they are special, they are important. And, if they allow God to, drive whatever they're trying to do in their life, they will find that purpose for sure.
Mhm.
So,
So, who inspired you at that young age? I know you said you had low self-esteem. Did that stem from anywhere, or did it?
so that's it's kind of, it's not even really that complicated to like explain, really. It's just when I was young, when I was a youngster and like a kid or whatever, I would just notice things. I would pick up on things really fast. You know what I mean? So I would like look around me or whatever, and I would see everyone like around me like healthy, you know what I'm saying, and look like
Mhm.
normal. Then I would look myself like in the mirror, and I had this complex about my legs. I used to see myself and like used to think I had like really scrawny legs, and that whole situation, although it sounds dumb like nowadays, you know what I'm saying, because it's
Mhm.
just like a pair of legs or whatever, right? But back then, as a child, as a kid, that did like a whole number on me because I thought I had scrawny legs.
Mhm.
I felt ugly about that, and then it went from like just the scrawny legs to like my arms. Well, now I feel like my arms are scrawny and skinny, and I feel like weak, and I feel like ugly because of it. Then it went from my legs to my arms to like my face, like, oh, like I'm just ugly, like period.
Mhm.
I just don't look good or whatever. And yeah, it's some stuff that I noticed, myself. No one really like I mean, yeah, there's always like picking on kids as a everybody goes through phases of getting picked on, right? By other
Mhm.
kids or children, whatever, right? And yeah, I mean, I guess you could say there was some moments where other like girls or whatever would say, "Oh, you got so much skinny legs, and you're this and that." Girls like picking on me
Mhm.
on in that area. And yeah, that contributed to it, but it was mostly just me noticing things about myself at the time.
So basically, being your own worst critic.
Yeah, yeah. From day one, I have always and continue to be my worst critic for sure.
I think that's a lot of us. We're hard on ourselves more than we're hard on anybody else. We'll criticize ourselves first and foremost. We'll look internal too much. I think and we try to be so picky of nitpick on every little thing and what's wrong with us, and not look at the positive what we got going on that's positive in our lives.
Oh yeah, definitely at a young age. At a young age, as a kid and a child, you're just looking to be accepted. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Especially by your peers, especially by your friends, especially by other kids or whatever. And so that drives most kids. I don't want to say all kids because some kids, the parents do a good job at doing what my grandmother did for me, is reminding them how great they are, how handsome or beautiful they are. You know what I mean? But yeah, like a lot of us struggle with that need to like just belong and like
Be
just
loved.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
So, did you do anything to try to fit in? Did you join sports? Any activities or anything like that?
What's funny? Like, and this is what I tell people. Like, never take away childhood, out of a child's life because you never know what it can do for them, right?
Hmm.
So, at the time that all that was going on was around the same time that my father introduced me to comics, right? Comics and superheroes and all that. And I started, like reading, whatever, and like looking into like different characters. I'm like, oh man, yo, they're like really strong. That's crazy. I wish I could be that strong one day or whatever, right? And my father himself, he used to be a karate like black belt type person. He was an army guy. He was like a man's man. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like freaking like macho man, Randy Savage type person. Like, he was a
Hmm.
dude. And I always looked up to my father, right? Physically, all that stuff. And I just kind of put one and one together. I'm like, you know what? Like dad, dad is into like karate. He knows like martial arts. He plays basketball or whatever. And these guys are like really strong. So, you know, I'm gonna start like working out or whatever. And from that point forward up until this day, like I love working out. It's if I could be a fitness trainer or like a personal trainer, like I would. I love working out. Like
Hmm.
I love what it is to just mold the body into something greater and better. So yeah, for sure. Around that time, I started working out little by little with like my father. I started going outside and playing basketball with my brother. Then later on, I tried out for teams in middle school, high school. Did neighborhood tournaments and that. I mostly enjoyed, loved basketball mostly. Like yeah, I would work out and do weights and whatever, but the sport that I was like mostly into throughout my whole childhood and teen years was like basketball. So
Hmm.
basketball, a little bit of boxing here and there, just for the fun of it, because my grandfather was a boxer too. So I'll play around with that a little bit. Never got fully into it, and sometimes I wonder what would have been if I would have, continued that path and actually like trained a little bit more with my grandfather
Hmm.
and like gotten into it. But it just didn't pique my curiosity that much, to drive me like in that route. But yeah, I definitely got into sports and fitness and all that.
That's something like it's crazy if you look back in your life. You think, okay, what if I took this step? Where would I be at? Or if I hadn't done this, where would I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. Can you ever think of those certain situations of where you wouldn't be where you're at right now if it wasn't the case?
I think, man, it's a tough one, man.
I learned from the best.
That's a tough one because I mean it's hard to think about. That's why I say it's like tough because I guess I don't know if my father wasn't as involved as he wanted to be, and if my brother wasn't as close to me as we were, and
Hmm.
and still are, but back then we were a lot closer because it was mainly just like me and him. My sister was like way too young. So I guess if I didn't have certain people in my life, maybe I can kind of like see myself like not evolving or turning into who I am nowadays.
Hmm.
Because there's always other people there's always other people around your life that take away more than they give. And what I mean by that is not necessarily that they do you harm, but by trying to do good to you, they kind of like lead you astray to like a different path. So I
Mhm.
certainly had people like that in my life. Now that I look back at it, and I guess yeah, if I didn't have the people I do have, and I had the people that I was, kind of like not mingling with or like close to, maybe I can see things like working out differently. But for the most part, I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to see it being like a different outcome, had it not
Mhm.
been just for the people itself.
You mentioned about having just a low self-esteem and whatnot. Is it something that you've had since you were a teenager? Or do you have those days now where you're like, okay, life sucks? These,
Oh no, 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 no. Nowadays, bro, it's been so many years since I felt that way, bro, because it got to the point that I didn't care anymore. Like
Mhm,
I honestly, like what people think of me, I don't want to say it doesn't matter because obviously I want to present myself as someone, that people can uh I don't want to say look up to, but people can like I guess use as an example of, overcoming, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that.
mhm,
But at the same time though, at the end of the day, like if that's not what I caused in your life and you left with nothing from your experience with me, you know what I'm saying? Whether it be talking to me or whatever it is, right? Experiencing any type of essence of myself did nothing for you,
mhm,
then okay. I mean, you'll find somebody else that will motivate you, inspire you, or you know what I'm saying, help push you to greater heights. It doesn't have to be just me. There's a lot of people out there
mhm,
that are maybe better speakers than me, maybe better uplifters than me, right? Motivators, inspirers. And so at the end of the day, like I just don't feel the need to, that same feeling that I had when I was as a child of like belonging. Like it's just
mhm,
that whole feeling went away like long time ago.
mhm,
So, and I've said this before on the main channel, but people make like really ignorant comments all the time, like in general on any video on YouTube.
mhm.
But I've seen some like on my channel, like on my videos, Alex's videos, so and so's videos, right? And I'm like, when it's on my videos or whatever, I'm like, hey, you can unsubscribe.
Yeah,
Like it's not gonna do me any harm. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
if you don't like it, unsubscribe, unfollow, look for something else that might fill that need that you have in your heart and in your mind. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
I don't care. Like it does nothing to me.
It's important, especially doing what you're doing, just to have that thick skin and not let stuff get to you. I was going to talk about it a little bit later on in the interview because of the other stuff that you do. How aggravating is it? You just man to man, whenever you're doing the interviews or whenever you're doing your stuff on the main channel, you're talking about your stuff on the other channel, and people try to bring up where's Alex, stuff like that. Where's Alex, or why are you talking about this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I think it's funny nowadays. Like at first, it bothered me at first because it was something. It was a transition problem. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? Like there was people who who were still like not aware of the channel being a shared channel now, and a lot of people were joining and subscribing to the channel because of Alex. You know what I mean? And I
mhm,
got absolutely no problem with that at all because I understand. You know what I'm saying? This man is out there on the field doing something serious and doing something important. And so I got mad love and respect for him. And that's kind of like why we have that shared channel that we do have, right?
mhm,
But there's people that, and I was talking about this with somebody in these days, but there's people who are extremely, Anna says, I was just people very confused. Yeah, there's people that are so deeply stuck on the whole like predator catching like content. Like
mhm.
it's weird, bro, and it's scary sometimes too because
Exactly.
it's like they're so deeply intertwined with it to
Mhm.
where it's like it almost feels like that's the only thing that they want to watch. Period. It's
Exactly.
like the only thing that they care about, period. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, saving, a potential kid's like life and all that is extremely serious. It's important. And that's, what I'm saying, that's why the channel is built around that. But yo, no offense and no disrespect, but there's more to life than just that content. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so nowadays, I just laugh it off. I'm just like, Alex will be here when he gets here, or Alex is out there doing a hot dog eating challenge, or Alex is in some toilet in some McDonald's out there somewhere, or Alex is on the road headed toward, I don't know, North Carolina or whatever. But nowadays, bro, I'm like, if you're waiting for Alex, I don't know when he's gonna be out here. So
Exactly.
if you want to leave now, you can. I'm not gonna feel hurt in any way, shape, or form. You do what you got to do. If you want to bounce, you can bounce. I even posted a video clip a few days ago on my Instagram, like telling somebody to like, okay, you're gonna bounce, like bounce. Like no one cares. Like you go ahead and
Exactly.
leave, bro. Like
It's your right. You have the option to not join the chat. You have the option to do whatever you want to do. It's crazy. Like you said, it seems like people are obsessed
yeah,
and
that's the
not a
word.
good way. Like I
Right.
can understand if you were a victim or something like this happened, but people take this to literally the extreme where all they do is just eat, sleep, and breathe it. It's like there's a whole world outside of YouTube or
Oh
predator
yeah.
attention.
Hmm.
I equate it. I mean, you're kind of down south, like college football or football. People eat, breathe, and sleep that. It's like
Right.
the obsession. And then you got to think, okay, these are like 18, 19-year-old kids here. There's no reason to get all upset or pissed off at a kid because, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. I don't understand. I mean, like I said, even me myself, sometimes you have to pull back and like, okay, there's a whole nother life out there. I've got a full-time job myself. I don't have time to sit there and dedicate to all the channels and whatnot. And I'm
Hmm.
sure you feel the same way.
And that's the other thing, man. There is so many channels out here in this community, which once again, I got mad love and respect for, and I support them and I share their content nonstop as much as I can. But there's so many of them out there doing their thing that it's extremely difficult to keep up with everybody
Hmm.
and support everybody well balanced. You know what I'm saying? And it becomes to start being like a mission instead of something like enjoyable. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it starts crossing the lines of like, oh, this is great that they're doing this. This is fun, like watching and all that. To oh my goodness, there's like 10 and 15 catches happening right now. Like which one do I
Hmm.
tune into? Which one do I support? Which one do I like go into the chat for? It's you know what I'm saying? It crosses those lines of like it's starting to be like an actual job as a viewer and supporter
Yeah.
of these channels. It's really difficult. Like, obviously, at the end of the day, just pick one and stick with that one and just watch the other ones afterwards or whatever.
Yeah.
That's typically what I do. But there's people who have trouble with that. It's like keeping up with everybody, or trying to.
Yeah. I mean, especially like when I first joined the community, when COVID first started happening, so we had a lot more time on our hands.
Right.
Now, I mean, I've got a full-time job. I've got other things besides dedicated just to that, and there's other hobbies and interests that I had that you can see on my Instagram and whatnot. There's
Exactly.
other passions, but I just don't get that obsession that some people have when it comes towards anything, especially like in this community.
Yeah. And that's something I have brought up in the past too. It's like, yo, my bad. You know what I'm saying? If I've been like not around as much or whatever and I haven't been sharing as much is because there's a huge difference between like mid COVID, like when it first happened, when you know what I'm saying, like I had to stay home because of my job, like pretty much like at the time paid me to stay home, like when I was working at the airport,
Mhm.
and I had the extra time to play around with, and that's how I came across all these channels myself, and that's how what I'm saying, one thing led to another, and etc. Right, but after that, bro, like I went from job to job, you know what I'm saying, trying to like actually try to keep a job
Yeah.
and it became like a task again. It became a task to try to keep up with all these channels, share their content, you know what I'm saying, show the much needed support that they need, and so on and so forth. There's a huge difference, like mid-COVID and post-COVID. It's two uh different times of having enough time on your hands to like play around with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what got you interested? What got you, okay, let me start doing this podcast thing to um do what you do now?
So at the time, and I think I've mentioned this before, but sometimes I might forget to say certain things that actually happened during the fact. But um, basically, I had found Chris Hansen's content, right? The whole Late to Catch a Predator,
Mm-hmm.
and I remembered I remembered me watching that show a few years before that. And like, oh snap, there's some good stuff or whatever. So I was watching it, and then that led to me finding Alex, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Predator Poachers and in the olden days, right? Of like how he did things like way before. And I was like, oh man, like, like I was turned off by the way he was doing it back then. So I'm like, so that channel led me to like another channel, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, this guy's doing it like differently, he's doing like better or whatever. And I started finding these other channels and supporting them basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then, long story short, one of those channels that I was supporting came back to bite me in the ass basically, and pretty much like sent like all these like different types of like threats and just a lot of gross things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yo, I have to speak up about this because this is not right. So I made a video talking about the matter, that topic at hand, and that, you know what I'm saying, led Alex to reach out to me, and then we talked about it, and then you know what happened afterwards. I don't have to
Yeah.
really talk too much about that, but in the midst of all that time, you know, while all that was going on, and even before it, I was like, yo, it would be nice to like have some of these guys on here to help people understand that they're regular normal people like you and me, but
Mm-hmm.
that they're using their personal time to help do this. And that started like a whole thing. And I think the first one I had on the channel was like Polo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He was like the first interview, and he was gracious enough to say yes, no hesitation. I reached out to him, and he was like, "Sure, let's do it. Let's get it going or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like when and where." I'm like, all right, but I was like, okay, it was really different, really new to me, but let's do it. And back in those days, I would write down all these different questions that I believed the people wanted to know, the people needed to know, I wanted to know, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, that were individualized and specifically designed like for that person, you know, with the hopes of helping, as Alex would say, well, not as he would say it, but as he would not me like as he would not like me to say it. Basically, like humanizing these predator catchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, honestly, not to put it in those words, but yeah, that was technically like the goal, is to like allow people to see that beyond them confronting predators and all that, and like catching predators and filming all this, there was a side to these catchers that they were like fathers. You know what I'm saying? They were maybe like former victims of this whole event. Maybe they had a family member that was a victim and they wanted to, you know what I'm saying, like get some type of like justice, like through doing all this. And so there was purpose behind every interview with everybody that I have interviewed since then up until now, is allowing the people into their lives on a personal level, and you know allowing people to see like, oh, okay, so I get it. He's not just some crazy person. He's actually someone, who has a child,
Mm-hmm.
or who has children and really wants to help protect other children because he has his own, and
Mm-hmm.
he would do anything for them. So he's trying to do everything for every other children out there. So, but yeah,
So I mean, you pretty much you write stuff down. That's pretty much how you prepare for interviews and whatnot. Just
yeah, I for the most part, I try to individualize it and cater to that specific person, right? Like
mhm,
for example, uh let's say with someone like Eric, right? We know that he's a black male, right? And whatever, he looks a certain way that some people might stereotype to a certain thing, right?
Mhm.
I might see that, and I might be like, hey, do some people, judge you because of like whatever, how you look, or how the appearance of you, or the way you project yourself, or the way you talk, you know. I try my best to, obviously, in a very respectful manner, because I'm not out here gonna ask something that's like disrespectful or whatever, but in a very respectful manner, ask questions that I know for a fact someone else might have, or
Mhm.
just to challenge, you know what I'm saying? Challenge pretty much like the catcher and the person uh, themselves, and put them in a position where maybe it's something that they wanted to talk about already, and they wanted to get off their chest, or they wanted to explain better, right?
Mhm.
And that's the other thing. I communicate with the catchers in advance, right? For the most part, because some of them like me to interview them like on the fly, like Ghost. He wanted me to interview him on the fly, like with
Mhm.
no script, and we did that. But for the most part, I try to make sure that I don't ask any questions that they don't feel comfortable answering. So
Mhm.
I ask them in advance, like, hey, is it okay for me to ask this, this, and this? And if they say yes, 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 all right, we'll go through with it. If, however, they say no on any of the questions, then I try to either like modify it to not to where it's not exactly the same question that they're saying no to where they feel more comfortable. Or if we can't like meet like a mid ground with that question, I just scratch it off altogether and just
Mhm.
keep moving forward.
Have you always been like this detailed oriented person where you try to, get everything down to a T?
Uh, man, when it comes to like my professional stuff, right?
Mhm.
I'm very meticulous. I'm very much of a perfectionist, which is the reason, to a certain extent, where there's a lot of things I have had on pause, because I'm such a perfectionist that it's like I'm not going to release something until I'm like really, really happy first with like what I'm about to like put out. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And that goes with everything, every area of my life. Artwork, music work, editing, video editing, this stuff. Like this, I would not have released this alongside my sister had I not been happy with the results of like the meaning of the logo, the look of the logo, and all that. Like we released it because I was comfortable and happy with it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So the same thing happens with the interviews. It's like I'll schedule it as far forward as I can, but at the same time to the best convenience of the person, to where I have time to write down the questions and make sure that I ask them in advance, and do all this work beforehand, and try to do my research on some of the catches that they've made. That way I can talk about it in the interview, so on and so forth. You know, for the most part, when it's something professional that I'm trying to do, yeah, I'm very detail oriented. I'm
Mhm.
very much of a perfectionist and all that. So yeah, hopefully
So,
that answers the question.
yes, 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 yes. So, what has been some of your favorite interviews that you've done over the past 2+ years that you've been doing this?
Ah, man. Let's see. Hmm. And this is when this is on the fly with
Mhm.
Chris LaRoche, because this was not, I was not told anything. I was not, what I'm saying,
I,
prepared.
I'm sorry, that's how I do it. I just do it on the fly. That's
That's a tough one, but I think, hmm, uh, I want to say for now, just for now, I'll say Polo, and I'll tell you why. I think the interview with Polo went so well, and we had such a great time, and I think we executed the whole purpose of the interview. Um, so to a certain extent, had it not been for that first interview with Polo, I don't think it would have spanned into a domino effect to all the other people I had interviewed afterwards.
Mhm.
And so it was like a catalyst for all these other great interviews that happened afterwards, right? The one with Alex was really good, even though I kind of wish we would we would like redo his interview, because at the time he was still like in the midst of like maturing a little more, the way he is
Mhm.
like a little bit more mature now. But it was still a great interview. And then Of course, the one with Ghost. We had a lot of useful information from his end on that interview. So they're all great, but I think if it had not been for the first one, um, I don't think it would have propelled me to or helped me or helped open the doors for me to actually make the other interviews happen. So
So you'd say the first one paved the way for the other ones just to do what you're doing right now. And I agree. I think if you interviewed Alex, you would get a different side of him. I interviewed him a couple months ago, and you just the maturity. I've been around for a long time, so I could say the maturity that he's developed over the past couple years, just night and day almost.
oh yeah, yep.
I mean, you got to think about it. He was what 19, whatever, when he first started out.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a kid's a kid. Of course, they're going to have that maturity. Those years when they had to mature and do those things on their own. But I think you get a much different person now.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And I've told him that. You know, it's funny. I'm actually gonna try to read the message out loud, but I had some quick words with him a few days ago, and I was expressing how proud I was of him. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Um, Hopefully, it won't take me too long to get there. I think. Okay, hold on. Mm, can't find it right now, and I don't want to take too much of the time. But basically, I was telling him, "Hey, man, I'm proud of you. You've been doing a great work. I think you've built a legacy around what you've done so far and what you're doing."
Hmm.
And I'm paraphrasing here, but he says something along the lines of, "No, not yet." Right? And that simple, man, and I'm getting goosebumps, bro, because again, I'm very proud of him. The simple no, not yet shows me that he's someone who is very driven,
Hmm.
who even though he does great work and he does work that's worthy of, you know what I'm saying, applauding and saying, yo, that's what's up. That's really good, work that you're doing there. It's never enough for him. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? He's always looking to up himself more and more and, get like a better win, a better he's very challenging with himself, which is really
Hmm.
good. And I told him, I told somebody he has the mindset and heart, obviously, of an athlete because he is one. He
Yeah.
was one. And so no matter how much he wins, there's always like another victory that he's heading towards,
Yeah.
And so, like the maturity, like you said, is night and day. And the fact that he is always looking forward to a bigger win and a bigger triumph within this thing that he's doing
Hmm.
shows me the level of maturity that has just dramatically shot up through the roof. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So yeah, I mean that again. That's why I say hopefully at some point we do like a part two to his interview because he has changed a lot for the better since then.
I I kind of, whenever you mentioned that about him, I immediately thought about Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. You're a huge basketball fan, so you know how driven they were to get to where they were at. They wasn't satisfied with one championship or two championships. They always put in that effort to just to go that next mile and to be who they were.
Exactly, exactly. And I I have to finish watching. Don't laugh at me now, and don't stone me. But I have to finish watching The Last Dance because I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah,
But
great.
it,
You know me, I was watching it when it first came out.
yeah, everybody was,
Yeah.
and I was like, I watched like the first two episodes. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But then I don't know what happened where I lost track of it. But what I'm trying to say with that is that you know there's always like a star player, right, in every team. And even if that star player like sucks, but there's always a star player in the team, right? However, however, when there's a good coach, right, and you have the surrounding team, always wanting to do better and like actually like play as a team and function
Mhm.
as a team, the star player is always reminded that without the team, you know what I'm saying, he wouldn't get that W. He
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't get that win. He wouldn't get that trophy. He wouldn't get that award, right? And I think that's something to keep in mind. You know what I'm saying? I think Alex has a great team on his end, and he
Mm-hmm.
has people that help him keep him grounded at the same time. You know what I mean? So that's yeah, for sure.
So that's great how you put it, because the great ones, they're not saying I, me. They're always putting the other people ahead of themselves, trying to put the other ones over, so to speak.
Exactly, exactly. And I
So,
think he, I don't know how to say this, but he was smart treating what he's doing and to the way that he's treated it, right? Well, which I'm not going to verbalize, but I think you know what I'm trying to say.
hmm
But at the same time, even though he's done that, he hasn't acted like, oh, I'm the greatest, or
hmm
my platforms are the greatest, or yeah, don't worry about those guys over there, even though they pretty much like stemmed from me or whatever, because this is where it's at. This is the only channel or only platform that you need to go to for content like this. He's never once acted like that. I mean,
yeah,
not that I've seen or heard. So
and I
he's
that's a total difference between him and other ones.
right.
He's not always talking about other people, what they're doing, whatnot. He's so focused on himself and the Predator Poachers brand that he doesn't have time to focus on other poachers or whatnot.
Yep. I
He's
was
even
reading.
go ahead.
Oh, my bad. My bad. You were gonna say something else?
He even said himself when he was on me, like he doesn't have time because he's so focused on what he's doing. He's driven on his brand that, like I said, he has no time to focus on anything else.
Yep. And to add to that, um, I saw a quote. I think it was the day before yesterday, because I love going through inspirational and motivational quotes. And there was a quote, and again, I'm paraphrasing because I'm terrible with like regurgitating exact information, but it says something along the lines of, um, "Remember those that what's the word I'm looking for? Judge you or criticize you are always doing less than you, or something
Mhm,
along those lines." So I think Alex has a great concept of that. Meaning, if like you just said, if he is as focused as he should be, with his work and making sure he gets whatever arrests or convictions or whatever, right? He feels he needs to get to make sure he feels like he's doing something, right? He doesn't have time to be looking and comparing himself to the people around him or the people
mhm,
competing with him, right?
mhm,
And as long as we as people learned to do that in general, just focus on working on ourselves, this world would be extremely different and extremely the better for it, because what do I care? What do I care if the other person is saying, "Oh, I got more followers than you," or "I got more views than you," or "I got more
yeah,
blah blah blah." Bro, like that's good. Good. That's good for you. That's what fills you up. Now let me go and focus and concentrate on building what I'm trying to build. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? So
It goes back to the athlete equation. Kobe Bryant was never worried about what um, the other team was doing. Wouldn't worry about the San Antonio Spurs,
oh
for
God, don't
example.
talk to me about them. I'm sorry. No offense to any San Antonio Spurs fans out there, but holy crap, man. They had a span of years where they were always every single time in the finals, bro. It got me fed
Mhm.
up. I was like, what the hell, man? What are you still doing here? Get out of here, yo.
Yeah, it's like Alabama.
Yeah.
It's like Alabama. I'll take that L. I'll take that L.
Jesus, yo, like, what are you feeding this guys like, every single year? And I forget what years exactly. I know it was like for the majority, it was like early and mid 2000s.
hmm
You still had oh God, Duncan was still there. Obviously, it was like the start.
Ginobili, Tony
Yes,
Parker.
yes, all them guys. I'm like every year the same thing again. The Spurs again at the finals. Why?
Yeah,
Why? Like, give somebody else a chance, Dan. Like, come on now.
it was always the Spurs or the Lakers. Yeah, back when Kobe and Shaq had their run, and then
Oh yeah.
after they split, they had
Mm-hmm.
Kobe and Paul Gasol. I was a huge Lakers fan after Jordan left, but yeah,
Those are the days, though.
yes, those were the best days as far as that '90s and 2000s NBA. So I want to talk about the Just Don't Quit brand. What got you interested in doing that?
Ah, I'm actually surprised, but glad that you asked that. I don't know how to say this without it sounding like weird or complicated. Okay, so many years ago, like in a galaxy far, far away, uh,
Where's
back
that
back
Star Wars thing?
back on the island in PR, right? When I was a lot younger, I'm talking about like middle school, high school, and pre college. I was always into fashion, and I was always into like just clothing lines and like looking into and comparing. Right at the time, Echo Unlimited was a huge thing for me, like back in the
Uh-huh.
day.
Yeah.
And I would look into like Mark Echo and like his work and how he got into it, and then read up on him. He was a graffiti artist. It just one thing led to another. And his story, for whoever hasn't read Mark Echo's story, is very interesting. So I highly suggest you go look it up. But I was always into fashion and design. And back then, when I was in middle school and high school, I would always be like drawing, what I would believe to be like a good logo for like a clothing brand, and what it would stand for, what's the purpose of it, blah blah blah, right? And that's something that I had put pause on again because I'm a perfectionist, and it was never good enough for me. And also at the same time, I did not find any way to actually make that dream become a reality because I got as far as making handmade, hand painted, and like graffiti type style like shirts, which sold. They really did sell like pretty well back in college. I did a pretty
Mhm.
good job. But as far as beyond that and like actually like manufacturing, what I'm saying, like shirts and all that, and going like the whole nine with them, I was never able to pull it off. So fast forward years, right? And you got me on the stream, and I forget what I was talking about on that stream, but I was going through a hard time. I was going through a very, very hard time. And I remember at some point within the stream, one of the viewers, which y'all know who it is, I'm not gonna mention like the name right now, but y'all know who I'm talking about. I'll just say it, Bill Powell. He typed in into the chat logs what I was talking about, what I was going through, and he was like, remember JDQ, just don't quit, right? And he typed it in there, and at the time, I didn't really think too much of it. I appreciated it. I embraced it at the moment, but I didn't really think too much of it, right?
Mhm.
And then time went by, and I started thinking like, yo, there's got to be something more, to this whole like YouTube thing. Like cool, yeah, I'm doing interviews or whatever, and cool, I'm doing like edited videos. That's fun, but I don't feel like I'm really like impacting anybody's like life just yet. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, one day I was like just kind of like thinking, and what he said just popped into my head again. And I was like, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, but how can I use that as like a symbol or as a meaningful thing to where people can actually identify themselves with and
Mhm.
actually help them with it, right? And start thinking about it. And then around the same time, like ironically, I was like trying to resurface some of the old logos that I had done in the past of like the old stuff that I was trying to do, right? And then, I just, my mind just put one and one together, and I started thinking like, okay, yeah, for sure. Like for like the survivors of this type of like incident, and people who have like a very like a sad, low self-esteem type past, like myself, because again, like I told you earlier in
Mhm.
this interview, I had very low self-esteem. So, for someone like me, and for someone who has gone through a traumatic experience, like experience like a predator or pedophile or something, you know, I believe there should be a clothing line dedicated to people like that, like us, like them, to help remind them. You know what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened when you were younger. It's not
Mm-hmm.
your fault. It happened, but that will never take away that you're still here, you're still breathing, you're still alive, you're still conscious, you're still able, right? And if you're still able, then yeah, there's surely more to life than to keep looking back at your dark past. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You need to look forward to a brighter future, right? And that's where the whole diamond thing comes in to play. We're all diamonds in the rough, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all diamonds in the rough, but we got to stop reminding ourselves that we had a rough and dark past as a coal. We got to remind ourselves that yeah, digging deeper and breaking through the coal and breaking through all that dirt and grime, there's something beautiful, there's something special, there's something valuable. You know what I'm saying? A diamond,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like a real diamond is worth what? It's worth a lot. It's priceless almost sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's how and who we are as people, as individuals, no matter how dark the past you've gone through, you are still just a diamond in the rough that needs to be taken out of that dirt, out of that grime, and just molded into who and what you really are.
Mm-hmm. And a diamond isn't a diamond without that pressure that's applied to it.
Exactly. It's
Like you
exactly
have to
right.
go through things you got to go through things that you may not necessarily like, um, and pressure that you may not feel comfortable, but in the end, you become that diamond, and it's all worth it in the end.
Oh yeah, yeah, and and that's the thing, man. Like people forget, like a lot of people they see other successful people, and for the most part, yeah, most of them, yeah, they're born into it, or it's connections and all this and that. However, there's other people who have made great strides in life that were not, what I'm saying,
Mhm.
spoon fed, or were not born into it, or were not connected to anybody that helped them propel themselves to that height, but they had to work through it, right? So
Yeah.
we all gotta like have some type of, like you said, pressure put onto our lives to where we feel so uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying? To where we actually break out of that uncomfortableness and actually, like, go out and be active and do something with our lives. Because if people get too complacent and they get too comfortable, right? And
Hmm.
they become lazy, and they become, what I'm saying, they're okay and mediocre with like what they have and how they're living their life. But if you make someone uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying? If you're, I'll just put it to you this way: if you're in a bus ride, right? And this is just for like mere example of what I'm trying to say right now. I'm not saying to take this to heart, but like if you're on a bus ride and you know the person next to you, is showing signs that they're uncomfortable or whatever, that they got to use the bathroom. Let's just say they got to use the bathroom for the sake
Hmm.
of an example. And but there's freaking two more seats with people next to them, right? And but they really got to go. They got to whatever. They got to do number two, and they're just like squinting, and they're moving, and they're like, oh man, I really got to use the bathroom, whatever. But in reality, you know what I'm saying? If they just stay sitting there, what they're gonna they're gonna sore themselves, and they're not gonna get
Hmm.
nothing accomplished. Versus like, I'm uncomfortable. I need to use the bathroom, so let me get up out of my seat and actually go walk to the bathroom and do what I got to do.
Hmm.
It's the same principle. I know it's like a weird example, but it's the same principle that applies. Like if you don't get up out of your seat figuratively when you feel uncomfortable, you'll never get anything done because you
Hmm.
feel comfortable, you feel complacent, and you know what I'm saying? You just saw yourself in life.
Somebody told me this years ago. It was like obstacles are a lot like eating vegetables. You don't like it, but in the end, it's what's best for you.
Yes, sir.
You don't like eating that. I mean, as a kid, you want to eat the chicken nuggets, you want to go to McDonald's all the time, but whenever you're presented that eating the vegetables, of course you're not gonna like it. But in the end, that's gonna help you grow and mature and become stronger.
Exactly. Exactly right, man. Ah, but yeah.
Thank you guys for all the love. So now that we talked about the Just Don't Quit brand, if you could sum it up in one word, what would it be?
If I could tell you what?
Sum up the Just Don't Quit brand.
Oh, to sum it up.
Yeah.
Well, to sum it up as best as I can, if you're someone or knows somebody, as we all know somebody, right? If you're someone or you know someone who has had like a dark past, a traumatic past, something that changed your life dramatically, right? And you can tell that that person is struggling to see themselves as someone worthy of living life, right? Like how everyone else is living, like a normal life, and they
Hmm.
feel worthless, they feel undervalued, they feel like the worst of the worst, they feel like trash, right? What this brand tries or strives to do is to say, hey, once again, doesn't matter what type of dark past you have or had, again, you are someone valuable, you are someone important, you are someone that is meant for greater things, you do have purpose in life, and
Hmm.
it's something that we would like to remind you of. You are a diamond in the rough that's just waiting to just break through all that coal and all that dirt and shine. You know what I'm saying? Shine for who you really are.
Hmm.
And that's the message that Just Don't Quit. I mean, JDQ Just Don't Quit tries to get across. It's like you don't have to stay thinking that you're the worst of the worst. You don't have to stay thinking that no one will ever value you for like who you were meant to be. You know,
Yeah.
and that's something that we just want to a message we want to relay to anyone who gets to be part of the movement, because I always tell people I'm not trying to sell anybody a product,
Hmm.
because that's not what I'm here for. Like I'm really not, and I'd rather me not sell anything. If anyone thinks that they're buying a product, just don't do it. Don't buy it. If you think you're purchasing an item and that's it, then I'd rather you not purchase it.
Hmm.
I'd rather you purchase it for the sole reason and purpose of what it's meant to be there for, is to be as a reminder that, again, not to sound redundant, not to sound like a broken record, but no matter what dark past we might have, we are diamonds in the rough that will shine through. We will break through all that grime, all that coal, right? All
Hmm.
that darkness, and show our worth, right? That's what I want
Exactly.
people to do whenever they think of even you know supporting me through that route. That's what I want people to remember and take home with themselves.
That's awesome. That's like I said, in this community, there's not a lot of positivity. And I'm glad that your brand is bringing that forth, bringing eyes to people that have been victimized, the people who've had that dark past. Just to know better days are ahead. Don't give up. Don't quit. You got this, as I always say. It's good, like I said, to put forth that positivity. Where do you see that going forward? Where do you
Man.
see yourself doing motivational speaking or anything like that?
Yeah. How do I say this, man? How do I say this? I have been for the last 2 days, and I finally found it last night. Actually, I have been looking for a full length clip of a motivational speech that I've been looking for, and I finally found it, and I'm glad I did because I subscribe to the channel and they have
Mhm.
great content, and I hope to like share it with you guys at some point through Instagram or something. But yeah, definitely the brand. I really hope, and God willing, if God allows it, I do want the brand to expand. I want to be able to have like my own space to where I'm personally doing the shirts and jackets myself, to where I can ship out to people and I don't have to rely, you know what I'm saying, on a
Mhm.
middleman like Teespring or something to like make it happen. Because that's the other thing. I want I want to give any item that we were able to be like blessed to like like send out to somebody. I
Mhm.
want to give it an individual personalized touch, meaning yeah, this is screen printed or whatever, right? But like I said earlier, I used to do hand painted T-shirts and stuff back in college, and that's something that I want to implement in the clothing line. Is you'll get like either half and half of something personalized, you know what I'm saying, by me or whatever, me painting on it or me spray painting on it or whatever, right? Doing something like customized and unique. And
Mhm.
you'll have the choice of just getting like the regular like screen printed type of version of the brand itself. Um, which, by the way, man, I know, like for example, there's a few people, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think it's fair for me to bring it up. I think you, let's see, you and actually Bill Powell, if I'm not mistaken, are two people who actually I have to still send out, certain items that I owe
Mhm.
you a piece, and it's the one that I have in the closet right now. It's the one that I autographed or whatever with the golden pen, it's the black
Mhm.
one. And Bill Powell, I owe him uh, some other things, but it has to do with the brand. But the main reason of why I haven't been able to do that, and again, I know technically I don't have to explain myself, but I am because I think it's fair, just in case someone's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like the whole, I remember some time ago, I had to ship out some sneakers that someone won in a giveaway. And I did not take into consideration the location I was going to be sending it to.
Mhm.
And it was expensive. All right. And so with you and Bill Powell's thing is like I'm gonna send it, but
Yeah,
I've delayed it because I want to add some things to the package itself to where it's not just the hoodie, but I
I
want to
got you.
send you guys some other stuff additionally. So,
I got you.
but we are hoping to expand. We are hoping to make it into a legitimate, genuine brand and clothing brand and expand from there. And yeah, hopefully at some point, if I could do some type of like motivational speeches and all that, I'll definitely do that because I have done it in the past.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, uh, way back when I was really, really, really hot in my faith, back when I was like in church on the island, yeah, I used to preach a lot. I used to give seminars. I used to give conferences. So I have absolutely no trouble and no problem like talking in public. It's
Mhm.
not really a challenge for me. Like I enjoy it sometimes, right? It's not something that I want to like always be doing. Like, oh, please, yeah, put me to speak in front of millions of people. No,
Yeah.
no, no. But it's okay. Like I'll do it if need be. I'll do it. So yeah, if at some point we get to the point where God allows us to get into that whole genre and category of like motivational speaking and all that, yeah, I'm always down for that. If that's a route that God wants to use me in or and use I guess work through me, then yeah, by all means, let's do it. But for sure, the brand itself, I'm hoping to expand. I'm
That,
hoping to expand as much as we can.
that's exciting to see. I mean, like I said, whenever God opens up that door, if it's His will, you'll definitely be great at it. I could tell just that you're natural. You're natural because it's something you believe yourself. People could
Right.
see right through that. People could tell who's genuine and who's not. It was kind of like my motivational Monday thing that I did yesterday.
Exactly.
People could tell who the genuine people are, especially in this community. When you're trying to be something that you're not, people see right through that. So, like I said, you're genuine, and I appreciate you for being you. Um, I'm gonna get some questions rolling in because I know it's pretty late, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time. While you're good,
Yeah, yeah, I can stay for as long as you need me to. I don't have a
okay.
problem with that.
I just know it's getting late. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. Um, let's talk about your second channel, the Vision Eye View.
Vision Eye View TV is a channel that is completely different from the main channel. And those of you who have subscribed, I know for a fact, pretty much anybody in the live chat right now is subscribed to it, and I do appreciate the love and support. Um, that channel was born from something that I've wanted to do for like over a year now, and it kind of, I don't want to say, it came to me in a dream. No, that's not what happened, but I've always enjoyed having conversations with like my cousins, my brother, and all that, and my sister. And I always wanted to do something uh, within the family that we could work on together. And I know, for example, like people like my cousins. One of the cousins that I brought onto the channel itself,
Mhm.
and I actually like post the clips of that moment that I had him on the show. Um, he's a very deep thinker. He's a very wise person. He's someone who is open to challenging himself and challenging his thoughts and his mind. And Casey says it's fun over there. Very interesting subject matter. It's not for everyone, yeah, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But I have a good time watching. Yeah, man, it's really not for everyone because it's I don't know how to say this without sounding like but it's a little bit more serious. Or
Mhm.
to a certain extent, I tend to treat it a little bit more serious than the main channel, and that's not to take away from the main channel. Don't get me wrong. Like obviously, obviously, catching predators and pedophiles is a serious thing, and it's something to what I'm saying, to
Mhm.
applaud and respect, of course. So it's not to take away from what I do on the main channel. However, the topics and subjects at hand on Vision Eye View TV. We talk about everything from the Bible. What does the Bible say about criminality, or people who have this mindset of whatever being in gangs or whatever, right? We compare music. We go through the secular and mainstream music industry, and we try to filter it through the Word of God, right?
Mhm.
And we compare like what music is really building you up as a person. What type of music are you listening to where it's truly edifying you, as a human being. And the topics and subject matters at hand over there, it's different. It's like a completely different world altogether than the main channel.
Mhm.
So for sure it's not for everybody, but those of you who are there and have been supporting since day one up until now, can guarantee anybody else that it's a great place to be, and the content that we provide there is interesting at the very least.
Is it something you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, yeah, no, I woke up or I opened my eyes back in 2000 and what year was it? 2008. Yeah, around 2008. Well, to be a little bit more precise, 2010. So I opened my eyes around 2010, right, to the lies of this world, which I'm not going to go into detail about or whatever here. But let's just say I had some type of awakening in 2010, and from that point forward up until now, I've always wanted to share that experience with everyone else and try to reach out to as many people. And hey, if that other person who is watching our content or whatever content we share has some type of like awakening as well, then we got the job done. We
Mhm.
we were able to transmit a message and get the message across to the point where that person had no choice but to put like one and one together and be like, oh, I didn't know about this. This is crazy. Then yeah, I would say we got the job done if that's the case. Um, Beginning Hope says
I was
it's
just about to ask that question.
yeah. Oh, so I think I spoke about it before, but I'll try to summarize it. So back when I was in college in those days in 2010, I was minding my business, bro. I was like everybody else, just doing what I was doing, like studying or whatever. And I came across a page, and I saw like the title of it. And you're gonna laugh, bro, because everybody laughs at first because it's like, I've heard about that before. That's funny, blah blah blah. Because it gets so, what I'm saying, overused. But let's just say it had to do with the Illuminati. All right,
Mhm.
let's just say put it to you that way. Um, and I was like, interesting. What's this about? And I looked into like the website and the page, and I looked through the information. And the thing is, the person was saying how repetition through signs and symbols, and through the same use of them, and different people, different videos, different songs, different this, different that, over and over again. And they had like a compilation of just like over. use and reuse and recycle like signs and symbols. And I was like, that is kind of like weird or whatever. And I looked further and further into it. Next thing you know, fast forward nowadays, I've gone through so much information that it just clicks and connects. And I connected the dots to the point where I'm like, okay, like I went down the rabbit hole. And I'm not like a lot of people that go down the rabbit hole and it never ends.
Mhm.
I've gotten to the point where, yeah, I went down the rabbit hole, but it got to the point where like, all right, I'm good. Like I know enough to where I'm like, I have a good idea of what why everything else is like the way it is because of the information I've come across up until now. So
Mhm.
technically there's no need for me to keep going down the rabbit hole, even though I could. But I've stopped myself and said, okay, I'm good. Like I don't need any more. Like I get it. I understand. Like it's all good. But for sure, the page that triggered that awakening was the Vigilant Citizen. I don't know if he still has that page up or whatever, but for those of you who want to look into it and just kind of use like the time machine, the website time machine or whatever, try to look it up. The Vigilant Citizen. And I think the first video I came across, it was the Katy Perry, was it Dark Horse? No, no, no. It was one of her first songs. It was one of her first songs. And Lady no, no, my bad. My bad. It was Lady Gaga. So it was one of her songs or whatever and had like a bunch of like symbolism in it. And yeah, that website was like a blessing to me back
Mhm.
then because I was like, what? This is crazy. Uh but yeah, that I would say that triggered the awakening for sure. The Vigilant Citizen.
Oh, just reading some of the comments.
Yeah,
Jesus,
same here. Yeah.
you are. I don't know what's going on with you, buddy. Much love, buddy. Uh, so I know you like spending time on that channel. What do you see that channel going for in the future?
I mean,
What's up, Brian?
in my opinion, I really do hope it goes far because personally, in my opinion, of course, this is just my personal opinion or whatever. You could take and do with it as you wish, but I think priority wise, I think leading people to what I believe to be the truth and what I believe to be, like my faith, right,
Mhm.
in Christ. And I know that's something like for some people, and I try to be as respectful as I can because I know everybody has their own beliefs and I know everybody has their own faith and their own right way of thinking. So I try to be as respectful, mindful, and aware of that as I can. But that's why I say, in my personal opinion, what I believe to be the truth and the faith that I follow, right, which is the gospel of Jesus Christ. Uh, Priority wise, I really hope to lead as many people to Christ as I can. And so that second channel, even though it's not a Christian channel, it's a Christ centered channel because we do our best to filter everything through the word of God, you
Mhm.
know? And so priority wise, I really hope that channel grows a lot more than the main channel for the simple fact that, if that does happen, then it's more of a possibility that, I'm doing what I'm really supposed to be doing. Because as a believer, as a Christian, I am supposed to be leading people to Christ. That should be
Mhm.
like my number one priority, right? I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect. I don't pretend to be. I don't pretend to be a saint. I've done a lot of things in my past that I'm not proud of, right? And I have skeletons in the closet like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I'm aware of all that. However, even though at the moment I'm not extremely hot in my faith, I'm trying my best to walk towards that because as I tell everybody, some of the best moments of my life and darn near all the greatest moments of my life were you can find them when I was hot in my faith. You know, that's when I was doing like seminars, conferences. I was out there preaching, evangelizing, giving like Sunday classes, working with the youth, being a youth pastor, and all that. And a drummer. Again, people forget I used to be a drummer at my old church. I'm
Mhm.
a part musician. So all these things, that are found in my old life when I was hot in my faith, you know, is what makes me truly happy. And I tell people from time to time, and even my sister and my family, not to sound redundant here, but some of the greatest moments of my life and the moments that I have lived and experienced, um, are of my past when I was hot in my faith and doing what I was supposed to be doing and what I should be doing right now. But
Mhm.
because I'm human, you know what I'm saying? And because I've gone through certain things these last few years that have caused me to stray away a little bit from the faith, and not from my faith, but and being active within the church and all that. Yeah,
We didn't
Jaime
know you
says,
were a youth pastor. Learn
yeah,
something
yeah,
new every day.
yeah. Yeah, man. For I mean, I'm not saying I was like a youth pastor for like years. No, I was youth pastor for like I think like 1 year or something like that.
Mhm.
But I had the experience of what it was to be a youth pastor at some point in my life. And uh, still doing good and positive things. Yeah, no, I never forget that. I never forget that. But the reality is, and not to take up too much time on this question and on this explanation, but the truth of the matter is, the fact that I have had a very hard time finding a church to where I feel at home at, and I feel like I can actually be active
Mhm.
and do some type of function to help the church, and the people that assist to it. The fact that I've had a hard time finding a church like that, and yeah, I do visit a church and I do go to a church. Don't get me wrong, and I enjoy it. But it doesn't feel like home to me, at least not yet. So
Yeah.
I have to find somewhere where I feel that God is calling me towards, to where I can be of a blessing to that church and that community, right?
It's good to go somewhere where you feel that connection, that you're loved, and you feel like you're a part of. Everybody wants to feel like they're a part of something. And if you go somewhere where you don't quite fit in or don't quite feel that vibe, it's rough. So
Yeah,
I understand where you're coming from.
exactly. And the reason I'm bringing all that up to answer the question and explain everything is, at the end of the day, whether it be a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, whatever, while I'm actively working on that second channel, Vision IView TV, I'm hoping to God and I'm praying and I'm actively trying to do what I can to actually, be. You're still spreading the word on YouTube. Maybe that's what God's wanted. Yeah, yeah, no, and that's what I'll be working towards too. Like for sure, like on the second channel, like Vision Eye View TV, I will be striving to do that. And I think we have been doing that thus far. I always try to open the stream up with like a Bible verse, right? And we try to finish off in prayer, right? So we try to pray before and after, but sometimes I just leave it for the end. But the whole point is, yeah, that second channel, I'm hoping that it grows to a decent amount or even more if God allows it to, because that means that in some way, shape, or form, people are finding the truth, right? Or
Mhm.
again, what I consider to be the truth, right? Which is the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I hope that people, through the content that we provide there, are also awakened, right? And find the truth and, find a family, because that second channel, we treat it as a second family the same way I treat the main channel as a second family too, right?
Mhm.
And everyone in the second channel and on Vision Eye View, uh, we ask each other for prayer. I've got people that DM me at random parts of the day or night asking for prayer. I'm like, all right, cool. That's what I'm here for. Like,
Yeah.
give me the name, give me the situation. We'll do a prayer and we'll add more people to the prayer chain because the more people there is in the prayer chain, the more powerful, you know what I'm saying, and
Mhm.
the closer God is able to listen to that prayer and act on it, right? So that's the way I treat the second channel. Is I really hope it does uh grow, but not just for the numbers, but for the actual like essence of like people finding truth and finding, you know what I'm saying, the hopefully getting their eyes opened to the reality that we're living in. So
Yeah. Dead Twist put it good. He's not even religious and he enjoys the conversation. So it's good to have that community of people that, there's no judgment. There's no, just come as you are. And, if you got something going on, we can link up and believe, that be taken care of or whatnot. So it's good to have that community.
yeah, and I love it, man. I love my second channel. Is like it's a baby to me right now,
Yeah.
and I'm doing my best to take care of it as best as I can. Obviously, and I'm all for free speech, and I always will say it. I will die saying I'm all for free speech. However, I think with that second channel, I'm going to try to be a little bit more, um, not strict, but a little bit more like aware with like what goes on like in the live chat or comment area.
Mm,
Um, Only because like again, like if you're gonna be there and you've got something like ignorant or like dumb to say or whatever, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Just you don't like it, you don't agree with it. Okay, you know, the
mm,
mouse is right there to click on a different channel or a different video,
exactly.
whatever, and just move forward. You know what I'm saying? There's no need, you know what I'm saying, to add like something negative that's not gonna construct or be of any type of like positive reinforcement or constructive criticism towards like whatever's being talked about. Uh
See if
oh,
you in it.
what up, Ghost? What up, baby? Thanks, man. I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. But like I said earlier, I gave my vote to Chris, man. But I appreciate that.
It's well deserved. Thank you, CC. I appreciate that love, man. That means a lot.
Appreciate that, brother. Little bro at it again. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna bring up his latest catch, man, but he's doing great work out there again, as always, every single time.
yeah, man. It
And
means a lot for you to stop by, doing what you got to do, and show some love and support. I appreciate it, Ghost.
and thank you, Levi. I appreciate that, man.
Yes.
It's great to see people, the community, talking to the catchers as they were like really, really family.
Yeah.
Jesus is saying, "What up, fool?" At CC unit.
I love.
I love the closeness. You know
Yes.
what I'm
That's why I love Jesus. He's one of a kind.
saying? Oh,
Yes.
that's when you know there's love.
Much much love in here. I appreciate that. So while we're anything's up, I get a little tongue tied. If anybody has any questions for JDQ, they can keep coming in or start coming in.
And again, I have time. Like it's not like I got somewhere to be.
Yeah.
Technically, I would be having somewhere to go like at 5:30 in the morning, but because of the situation I explained at the very beginning of the interview, for the moment being, I don't have that responsibility at the moment. I take them like way later in the day. So
Yeah.
thank you, John Davis. I appreciate that, bro.
You're making me blush. It is what it is, Jesus. You're the one that literally comments on all my Instagram videos. Like, look at cute witch. Like, who says that?
Oh man, yo.
So
Victor's asking for
you're
Ghost's
a big fan
autograph.
of you're a big fan of The Office. If you were to compare yourself to one character, what would it be?
If I were to play one of the characters from The Office,
If you would compare yourself to
oh,
one,
compare myself. Ah, man, that's a tough one, bro. Ah, man. Let's see. Let's see. Uh, Man, see, if I answer that, you're gonna be like, I knew it. I knew you were gonna say that. I knew. So it's gonna be like, it's not gonna be as exciting for people because I want to like surprise people with the answer, but most of them are gonna be like, yeah, I can see that. I can see how. Yeah, I knew it from a mile away. But I would say gym, man, because to a certain degree,
Yeah.
like depending on like what area of my life or what season of my life you got to know me at, you would be like, yeah, because I used to be like a jokester and prankster like back in middle school and high school. You know what I'm saying? I would like play pranks on people all the time, and I would just I would enjoy myself that way. And after I got over my insecurities, like from a child, I want to say like around like middle school, high school, where I had like a lot of confidence in myself or whatever, to a certain degree, okay, let's not be overly dramatic here and exaggerate, but to a certain extent, I did consider myself like a ladies' man. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So,
I can see that.
hey, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. What Levi is saying? What was my zodiac sign? I think. I mean, I don't. I really don't look into that stuff, but I think I searched it one time, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's a Virgo. If I'm not mistaken. So I don't know what that'll do for you, sir, but that's what it is.
What's up, John Davis? We will get you on sometime soon as well, for you to tell your story. You can just reach out to me on my Instagram, and we can probably set something up in the future. Somebody had a question. I just was trying to scroll. Oh, Casey. Did you ever feel worried having your live catches on your channel? Do you ever feel worried about it? And
Oh,
YouTube ever tries to screw you?
not really, man, because like again, me personally, and this goes back to earlier, what I was saying earlier. Like, yeah, like would it suck? Because whatever, let's say it just depends on the level of penalty that the channel would be paying. Like if the channel were to get like demonetized, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. If the channel gets like banned to where we can't use the channel at all, that would suck for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, like and it I'm not too worried because I've talked to Alex about it many times before. Like once we decided to even like collaborate and like have this like shared channel or whatever. We've talked, and I told him, hey, bro, I'm okay with all this. I'm 1,000% for it. Let's do it.
Mhm.
However, you know what I'm saying, taking into consideration what has happened in the past, you know what I'm saying, cannot happen with this one. So we gotta treat it. You gotta treat it like your baby. You gotta treat it like it's like the last channel you'll ever have in your life, basically, right?
Mhm.
And he agreed that he was going to do uh, what he can do on his end to use it properly and not do anything that might get it banned or taken down or whatever, right? So on his end, I'm not worried because I know he's a responsible dude, especially if what I'm saying, if we're like sharing the channel and whatnot. I know he's aware of that, and I know he's doing what he can on his side to like be responsible. So I'm not worried, but you know, is the possibility of it happening there because YouTube has gotten extremely strict and extremely like Nazi. I mean, I don't know if that's gonna
You say it.
yeah.
You say it.
It's gotten really bad. Like the censorship has gotten really bad. Google, YouTube, and everything. So the possibility of it happening is there for sure, especially with the type of content that Alex tries to do. Which I'm assuming that's why the question was even asked.
Mhm.
But like it just depends on the penalty. If it's demonetization, whatever. Um, but if it's like taking the channel down altogether, it would suck because yeah, I'm like the founder of it and I've watched the channel grow, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, the way it has. And so that would suck, of course. But there's nothing that can't be when there's something great, and it gets like breaking down, whatever, the people who build up that thing that was great can build another great thing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So you're just destroying the masterpiece, but you're not destroying the artist.
You can always come back and rebuild yourself and come back even stronger.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So, just trying to see if there's any other questions. You guys can keep them rolling in. You're a big NBA fan. Do you like any other sports?
I used to be a big like boxing fan back when like my grandfather was still alive. But I stopped watching after he passed.
Hmm.
Let's see, basketball, boxing. I used to watch UFC back when the like the hype was like really there, but then
Yeah.
afterwards I stopped watching it. I didn't keep track of it. So I guess like for the most part, hmm, I mean lately the last few months I've been watching like F1. So
Hmm.
F1's pretty interesting. I'm not to the point where I know everybody's names or whatever, but I've gotten to the point where it's like, oh, it's pretty interesting, like the whole work that goes into it and whatever. So I guess basketball, and for the moment, I mean, I used to be a big wrestling fan too, like back
Yeah.
in the glory days of like WWF,
The
like
Attitude Era.
right. So I used to be a big fan of that for sure.
Yeah.
But again, when it got to a certain point and the storyline started getting like weird and all that, I'm like, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
like every now and then I'll watch it if I turn on TV and they're giving, what I'm saying, there's like a match going on, like I watch it,
Yeah.
but I'm not into it as much as I used to be, like back when like the Attitude era.
I think
So
you would enjoy AEW more than the product that WWE is putting out now. Like, I don't really watch much wrestling myself, but if I did, I'd watch AEW. They're just a lot more geared towards the adult audience, whereas
mm,
WWE, they're more geared towards kids and trying to appease the younger demographics. But
I'm about to
yes,
look into that then, yeah, for sure.
316, that was my guy. I like The Rock, but Stone Cold was my guy.
Stone Cold, and even nowadays, bro, have you seen him like nowadays? He has
Yes,
his own podcast and all that. Like he's got this distinct, unique thing about him. The same way that Rock has a unique thing about him, but Stone Cold, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, man. It's like his characteristics and his personality. I feel like he's playing his character,
hmm
his whole entire day, but that's just him. He's just being him.
it's it's him dialed up to the highest notch, is what he says himself.
Right.
Um, he's one of the people that got me interested in podcasting because I used to listen to his stuff years
Nice.
ago. He was like one of the ones that paved the way of podcasting
You're actually
before
right about that. Yeah.
all
Forgot
the other
about
ones.
that.
Like Chris Jericho has a podcast. Conrad does a whole bunch of different podcasts, but I loved just listening to his stuff, and you can tell how real he is. And that's
Exactly.
like you said, that's just who he is, just dialed up to the highest degree.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. That's why I like him. Is he's just like that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Some people might see him as, oh, he's still like playing his character. Nah, bro, that's just how he is, yo. He's just like that. Like, I don't know how
yeah.
to explain it. But I love it though. It's nice. It's refreshing.
He used to have hair that back when he was stunning
Oh yeah,
Steve Austin.
exactly.
What's your favorite food?
Ah, my favorite type of food is Italian. Love Italian food, man. Listen, if I could eat Italian food all day, every day, I'd be a happy man. And technically,
Um,
I could do that because you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying Italian food is like the easiest food to cook, but it's pretty. You know what I'm saying. It's pretty much straightforward. So I could do it if I wanted to, but I would prefer for a loving, you know what I'm saying, at some point of my life, a loving partner, female, to cook out the actual food. But yeah, just to summarize everything, yeah, Italian food. I'll just leave it at that.
Jesus, you're killing me again, brother.
Oh wow.
I wonder why.
It
Lord
just
knows
tastes
we.
great, man. It just tastes great, okay? That's all it is. There's nothing else to it. It just tastes great.
Always stirring the pot, huh, brother?
Right. No, I mean he's got to. He,
Yes,
he learned that from Alex or the other way around, but for sure, yeah.
I think it's a little bit of both.
That's good.
My guy wants a hot wife. I feel it. Mhm.
Well, but who doesn't though? You know what I'm saying?
That's
Come on
that's the name of the game, man.
now.
That's what we want. You're good with Garden. Hey, they're breadsticks, man. And I'm not a big salad guy, but
I'm okay with going to Olive Garden. If let's say someone invites me there, I'm like, all right, let's go. Or the birthday party's at Olive Garden. Okay, we'll go. Oh, whatever. We're gonna celebrate that he, had his divorce filed or whatever. Let's go to Olive Garden. Okay, let's go. But am I gonna wake up one day and go out of my way and be like, yo, I want to go to Olive Garden today? Nope, not doing it. Can't
mhm.
do it. Nothing against them, but I've had better Italian food other places. Just saying.
Yeah. There's a place called Fazoli's. I'm
Never
sure
been.
you never been. I don't think there's any of that in Florida, but it's pretty good.
Huh. Let me write that down before I forget because I will forget.
It's not like a sit down restaurant. I'll tell you that. It's like a not fast. I wouldn't say fast food either, but it's pretty good.
How you spell it?
Fazoli's Fazzoli.
Got it. Okay, I'll look into it. But yeah, man, I'm all for like as genuine as it gets type of like Italian food. Like
Yeah.
the more homemade, the better.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of. I mean, I know where you're at. I don't want to dox your location, but you got pretty good um things to eat there too as well.
Oh yeah, man. This area, it's funny because like where I used to live before I moved in here was like with my parents and all that. Um, there was a lot of stuff like around that area and in the other town,
Hmm.
but here I'm closer to like a certain like downtown or whatever, and
Yeah.
certain places where it's actually tailored to like the Italian cuisine.
Hmm.
So, that's why I say I've tried other places where it's just better because it's more of like a mom and pop type of business versus, like a franchise or whatever. So, yeah, there's a lot of options here. Like when it comes to food, when it comes to actual cuisine, there's a lot of great options of Italian food around the area, and I am thankful for that. I am grateful for that.
Froggers. I've never even heard of Froggers. That must be a Texas thing. I'm all about B Dubs or there's a few other good wings places. What's your favorite color?
Oh, that's easy, man. Blue, blue.
Somebody else besides Jesus that wants to ask a question.
Right. No, Jesus is just like, he's on a roll, man.
Yes. Much love. He's a good guy. Much love. I know we've been joking back and forth, but he's a really good dude. All right. What's your favorite genre of music?
Oh, definitely rap and hip hop for sure. That's
You like the old school, huh? You like the old school Tupac?
no, dear God, no. God help me. No. But you're close. I like the music that was contemporary with that like music genre or whatever. Not specifically Tupac and Biggie because no, like I never really like found them like I didn't really like them like that. Everybody
Mhm.
made them up to be like these like gods or whatever. To me, they had talent for sure. They had a talent and ability, and no one can take that from them. But I never like looked at them that way. I was more of like just very wholesome stuff like Will Smith, when he was like doing his music
Yeah,
out there.
getting
Uh,
jiggy with it.
right. Like if I'm talking about like mainstream genre like rap and hip hop and all that, yeah, definitely Will Smith, Nas, uh,
Yes.
Jay-Z when he first came out, uh, 50 Cent, Ludacris was a big thing for me. Like, I used to love Ludacris's music. Um, who else? Uh, Man, the list is too long, bro. But you get the idea. Like
Yes,
pretty much anybody who's around that time period of like hip hop and rap, pretty much I would like listen to them.
I
Favorite
think
rapper. Again, would you like the secular mainstream answer, or would you like overall my favorite rapper, like period?
overall.
Overall, oh man, it's gonna have to be the. And I know when I say it, you're gonna be like, who? I'm gonna be like, yeah, exactly. But if you look him up, you would enjoy his music, his work. It's mostly Hispanic again, but pretty sure if you look up the lyrics and all that and like translate it, you'd be like, oh, it's pretty dope. Uh, Redimido. So that's Redimi and a number two, right?
Yeah.
Uh, however, on the American side, I would have to say NF. NF is a great, one of the greatest rappers I've heard. Like that he's like Christ centered. And I would pin him against a lot of other mainstream secular artists out there. He's really really good. He's like what some people would say the Christian Eminem, but he's really good. He's really great, and I don't mean to compare him like that, but he's really 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 up there. So
Okay. I've never heard of him, but I'll give him
you've
Cypress
never heard
Hill.
of NF?
No, 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 the first guy. That's
Oh,
what you're
oh,
talking about.
thank God. Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
my heart was about to pop out of my chest,
No,
Chris.
I've heard of NF. I I love music as a whole, so
Oh,
Cypress Hill, that's another OG.
true.
Uh,
That's way like back in the when. But yeah, Redimido, yeah. Dead Twisters share the link.
yeah,
Yeah, that
Twisted
guy.
posted a link.
Hmm. For sure. That's my guy right there, man. That guy has kept it real since he came out all the way up until now, and has just been himself throughout his whole like process. And if you look into his channel and his like social media, the guy has like a really decent amount of like supporters. Let's just put it that
Mhm.
way. And his lyrics are just so strong and so precise and so it's crazy, bro. Like it's an experience. Every single song he has, it has a certain power to it. You know,
Jesus with yet another question.
of course.
Of course, he's like the little kid in class, always raises up his hand.
What
Anyway,
country? What country do I want to visit? Uh, you know what's crazy, bro? Like that's I'll just summarize it to this. I'll go beyond country. I'll go one of the places that I really want to visit overall is Jerusalem. I really before I die or whatever happens to me, I really want to visit Jerusalem.
yeah,
I want to see and walk around uh, where Jesus walked. Like I want to see like how it is, or I know it's not exactly how it was back in his day, obviously, but still, the fact that he walked those streets and he walked that area and all that, like I would love that experience.
yeah. I've had some friends that been to there and been to Israel. That's another. I'm sure you'd be interested in doing that. Um, it's like what I've heard. It's a unique experience.
Everybody that comes back says the same thing, man. There's something about it, right?
Yes. Just some more questions while we're wrapping things up. Just a couple more minutes. I appreciate you for coming on, man. It didn't feel like it's been almost 2 hours.
Really
But,
doesn't feel like 30 minutes at best.
seriously, seriously. Were you born with a beard? Yeah, I'm sure, yes. It came out like James Harden,
I mean, do fuzzies still count or
peach fuzz.
but no, of course not. Just in case someone comes along and, like, and reads that, like, nah, nah. I mean, obviously, come on now, come on. But no, I wasn't. Sadly, I wasn't. I think Alex was, but I don't think. Looking
Alex
back at
is
my
good.
pictures now.
Yeah, I can't. I've tried. I thought about growing it out, but man, Alex has got those all beat as far as the beard game going on. All right.
Me, I'll just say this, and I was having a conversation about the whole beard thing with somebody, and I was like, I wouldn't let it grow out this much if the beard hair itself would be like a lot thicker. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
the only reason why I grow it out as much as I do is because you can't see it. It's not really noticeable. But there is like certain areas where it's like patchy. So to compensate and like to kind of like facade that, I grow it out a little more to where I can like comb it in a certain way where it just
Mm-hmm.
looks full all the way across. But if that weren't the case, bro, if I had like lumberjack type thick beard
Duck
hair, I would
Dynasty.
keep it, you know what I'm saying? I would keep
Yeah,
it like really close to my face because I really don't like all this.
he did Duck Dynasty, Cy Robertson style.
Exactly, exactly. That'd be great, but that's not the case for me.
All right. One last question from John Davis. Where would you see the movement going in a year from now?
Oh man. Well, that's a very difficult question to answer because where I would love to see it at least, and I'll get to the actual question, but where I would like to see it, I would like to see it progress, and I would like to see it expand, and I would like it to reach a lot more people. That way, there's more exposure to what I'm saying the community itself is doing, especially the catchers and the decoys and all that. However, realistically speaking, here, if I am truthful and realistic about all this, uh, it's I think it's going to become more difficult as time passes, both for the catchers and these types of communities to exist. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I think whether it be the government, um, the mainstream news, or whatever, or a combination of the both, is going to get to a point, little by little, that as time passes by, sadly, I think there's gonna come a time where the laws will favor more these criminals, the predators and pedophiles and all that, slowly but surely, gradually, of course, right? It won't happen overnight, but it'll happen little by little, right? To
Mm-hmm.
where, and I shared a little clip on my Instagram earlier tonight, where the channel that I follow talks about it a little bit. But it's gonna get to a point where, sadly, okay, and I say this with a really big pain in my heart because it's going to happen because technically, uh, prophetically, it's supposed to happen. Things are supposed to go from bad to worse, right? If you're someone who believes in the Bible and
Mm-hmm.
Bible prophecy, you should understand that things will go from bad to worse before things get better. And I sadly, I think that whether it be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, whatever, there's gonna come a time where they're gonna say, okay, 7-year-old has the ability and mentality and maturity to decide whether they want to, what I'm saying, date a 40-year-old, 50-year-old person. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's gonna suck. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm preparing myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to, what I'm saying, to be ready to like see that happen before my eyes. I hope I don't see it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I really hope I don't see it. And I hope nobody here sees it, right? But I mean, things are pointing towards like that route, you know. I think I at some point on the second channel I'll be talking about it, but there's a community that are like known as like the boy lovers or whatever, and it's a group of like old men basically, where they basically idolize little boys. You know what I'm saying?
It's
And
crazy.
they're looking for ways to appeal to the government and society to where the same way, you know what I'm saying, certain communities have found a way to find ways to implement laws that favor them and what they want to do, is the same way that they're trying to do what they're trying to do. Is like they're trying to get laws changed to where, hey, you know, I have a right to, if I have these feelings for these little boys or whatever, I have the right to, you know, go
Mhm.
on dates with them or whatever, blah blah blah. And at first, it's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? It's absurd as it is
Yeah,
right
just
now,
even think about it.
right? But I'm telling y'all, ready yourselves because eventually, gradually, it's gonna happen. Not because I don't want it to happen. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because is we're talking about kids. We're talking about children, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I really don't want that to happen. But again, prophetically, like Bible prophecy and all that, it's gonna go down like Sodoma and Gomorrah. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Sodom and Gomorrah. My bad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
um, yeah, Mambla is one of them. Mambla is one of them for sure. But there's another one which, if I come across it again, I'll share with you guys afterwards. But Mambla is definitely one of them for sure.
It's crazy. Just, I mean, you look back, things that are happening now, we would never even thought of about even 5, 10 years ago. We would
Right,
never even thought would even be a thing. And
right.
just how far things are progressing from when we were kids.
Hmm.
Like when we were kids, we were able to play outside, do what we
Hmm.
want, and no care in sight. We can't. The kids can't do that these days, and
Exactly.
it's crazy.
Yep.
Well,
But to summarize the answer from that question, a year from now, I honestly think that things will be not impossible. I'm not saying it's going to be impossible for people like Alex to still do what he does, but I do believe the government is in some way, shape, or form going to make it a little bit more difficult for them to operate and for communities like this to like exist. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be more censorship. There's going to be more difficulties along the way. However, just because there's more difficulties doesn't mean, you know, we should quit. Doesn't mean that we should give up. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep sharing what we share. If anything, we should be sharing it even more if something like that were to happen. You know, so keep that in mind. Just because I'm saying it's gonna be more difficult doesn't mean that there's no room for us to expand and keep sharing double time, triple time what we share on social media
mm,
or in person, you know, because sometimes we rely so much on social media nowadays that we forget that sometimes word of mouth is also effective. You know,
mhm.
I could tell my neighbor and hey, check out this channel, check out this page, check out this social media platform or whatever, and look at this video, and so on and so forth. So will it be more difficult? Probably. Will it be impossible? Of course not.
Yeah, just don't quit. We
Exactly.
can all pretty much sum it up into that thing. Just don't quit. So if you guys are digging this interview, the roles will be reversed sometime this week. I'll be on his channel. He'll be interviewing me. So just stay tuned for that. Any final words while we wrap things up?
I mean, for the people who have been here, whether it be from start to finish, or you know you came just now or whatever, like to watch the stream. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting Chris. Thank you for supporting What's Your Story. You know, obviously, as you guys would do with any content that you believe in and that you support, you know, share, share, share. Right? It's not really something that I have to say because y'all know what to do. But obviously, like I said at the beginning of the interview, Chris has been one of the more consistent, or if not the most consistent interviewer out here in the community, in my opinion. So I do believe, you know, he deserves a lot more recognition, viewership, and support than I know that he already does. And I know everybody in here loves Chris. You know, I know all of y'all love Chris and support Chris. But so that being the case, um, I believe we could help him propel like his channel like more forward, and he does deserve a lot more views and a lot more support, in my opinion. So
I
I'll say
appreciate it.
that, and I'll say, Chris, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it. This is like a long overdue,
Yes,
long awaited interview, that I know a lot of people have been wanting to see. So I appreciate you giving me the the opportunity. Red Hood says everybody hates
Yes,
me. That's a great show, by the way.
yes. I used to love that show, by the way, Redhead. So take that. Of course, the
Uh,
TV show. Of course, brother. Of course.
but yeah, no, like I really do genuinely like thank you and appreciate the opportunity for the to be on here, like talking with you and everything. And of course, the quick plug into the Vision Eye View TV, which I know you guys already shared, like in the live chat. You know, go check that out whenever you get a chance. I'm sure you won't regret it. And I would try to link my father's channel like afterwards, like in the comment section somewhere. Just if you guys are interested in watching like my father preach and give like Bible sermons at some point. Um, and if you believe that we are, you know, diamonds in the rough and that we're meant for greater things and that we do have purpose and we do have, you know what I'm saying, meaning in life and are valuable as diamonds or if not even more, then of course you can go to jdqjustdon'tquit.com and help a brother out through supporting that merch store.
Brother's got to pay bills, so go to get some of his gear. I got some myself, so go ahead and get some of his gear. Subscribe to his channel. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. Like I said, we've been talking about this for months about doing this, about
Right.
vice versa. So I'm glad when I put that question in last week, people were asking for you to come on and whatnot. So I'm glad we took out the time, man. I look forward for you interviewing me sometime this week, and we can reverse roles.
Oh, definitely, man. I'm ready for it. And I'll try to do be the good me and be like, all right, Chris, I'm gonna send you just to make sure you can confirm on your end that this is okay. This is okay. You know, they were you related to so and so? Okay, I can't ask that. Okay, I'm taking that off the list.
No, I'm not related to Joe Rogan. Just get that out in the open.
But yeah, man, I'm excited for it. So I'm ready for you when the time comes this week. So yeah, we'll make it happen. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Look forward to it. Much love, everybody. I appreciate you guys for being up. It's almost 1 o'clock our time,
Yeah.
but I appreciate all the love and support for both of us. And like I said, look forward to interview this week. And you guys have a wonderful night. Much love, everybody. Like and share, please, as well. Bye.
Peace.